The following program is a special presentation of the Big Ten Network, produced in association with the University of Wisconsin.
Very few Big Ten athletes can compete in two sports and be successful. Yet our guest today did that in swimming and track. Now she'll be competing for an Olympic gold medal. And we'll meet her next on Wisconsin Reflections. She has excelled at the collegiate level at both swimming and track while competing for the Wisconsin Badgers. Excelled enough to be awarded the Big Ten Medal of Honor. Then the United States Olympic team came calling, and now she's trying to win yet another medal. U.S. Olympic triathlete Gwen Jorgensen joins us. Gwen, welcome back to Madison.
Thank you.
Feel good to be back?
Oh, great to be back. It's a wonderful town.
So you came out of Waukesha to Madison, and you started out as a swimmer.
Yep.
And how long did you swim for the Badgers?
I swam my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, so
and
3 years.
You walked on, but you made the team? Or
Right.
you swam on, I guess, is
Yep.
what they would say. And what were your events?
I did long distance freestyle, mile, 500, and then I also did the 400 IM.
Were you recruited anywhere out of high school?
Not real heavily in swimming. I was the one kind of going to teams and begging to be on the team.
Uh-huh. Why?
I loved swimming. Growing up, I just had a huge passion, loved being in the water, just enjoyed it.
And then somewhere in your junior year, someone says, hey, you run too? Or how did you go from swimming to track, which is an unusual transition?
Yeah, so I never was good enough in swimming to go to NCAAs or anything like that. So I kind of had a longer break than other people on the swim team. So during my break, I'd run. And I kept in contact with my high school track coach. I ran 3 years of high school track.
What'd you run in high school?
800, 4x4, so short distance stuff. And he said, oh, I bet you could join the UW track team if you wanted. And I knew.
As if you had a lot of free time.
Well, during that break, you know.
Yeah.
So I knew I had a huge talent in running just from high school. And so I decided to, I was like, sure, maybe, I don't know. The next day, my high school coach had emailed the track coach at UW, Jim Stinzy, and was like, hey, I think you should check out this girl. Jim had me do a time trial later that week. And then that Saturday, I went to a race.
Wow, what'd you run for the Badgers?
I ended up doing mostly 5Ks, 3K, 5K, a little mile, 10K.
Which is different than running the half in high school. And were you running 5Ks throughout college while you were training for swimming?
So, I mean, not really. I hadn't really. But then that junior year after I did track, I kind of decided to focus more on running, and then I stopped swimming. So
compare swimming to running. What was the biggest transition for you?
It's just muscular-wise, it was very different.
I mean, you're the ultimate cross trainer here. I mean, what about the head game?
Oh, that's something I'm still working on. I mean, everyone has trouble with that, I think, staying focused and just, I mean, I had two different sports. One where swimming I wasn't really that great at, and I had to work really hard, so it was difficult mentally going into races, putting in a ton of effort and not really always seeing the results. And then with running, it kind of came way more naturally.
What is the difference between competing at the collegiate level at an indoor sport and an outdoor sport?
That's good, yeah.
You know, because one thing that's always struck me about swimming is I would get tired of chlorine after a while. You know, I mean, it just being inside, at least you have some changing views when you're running the 5K, right?
Yes, that's true. Or cross country, where you get to go on beautiful courses. I loved cross country, just being outside, and it's refreshing and
plus
exciting.
You can talk to people you're running with, which is hard to do when you're swimming.
Right, yeah. You know, you get little breaks when you're swimming here and there where you can talk, but yeah, it's totally different.
And how well did you do collegiately in track?
All-American, made it to NCAAs, so.
And did that surprise you, or did you find yourself saying, geez, I should have gone into track right away?
I never thought that. I was able to experience two totally different teams, and being able to travel to different places, meet different personalities, it was an awesome experience. What
was your favorite campus to visit other than Madison when you traveled? Like, who'd you go look forward to competing against?
I mean, in swimming, we went to Hawaii, which was just amazing every year, being able to swim outside and just experience something totally different. With track, I really enjoyed going to Stanford and Oregon. It's just
which are both big track meccas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you graduate, and you got a degree in accounting. You're working at Ernst & Young.
Yep.
And then how did you get a call from the U.S. Olympic Committee? How does that work?
The USA Triathlon has a college recruitment program, and they go to colleges and they'll talk to college running coaches and swimming coaches and say, hey, do you have someone that you think would be good for triathlon? And so both the swimming coach and running coach here were like, Gwen, we recommend Gwen. So they kind of contacted me, said, do you want to give this a shot? I was like, I have an accounting job, I'm not really sure. And, I mean, they said, try it out, you have nothing to lose if you don't like it, no commitment. They set me up, I've been extremely blessed. They set me up with a coach, and that's how I kind of got started.
So you have experience with swimming, although triathlon swimming is considerably different than pool lap swimming. It's pretty competitive and bumpy. I mean, there's a bunch of people in the water all going to one place, right?
Yeah, the first race I did in triathlon, I was shocked, and I had to learn to remain calm because people are swimming on top of you, holding you underwater. It's kind of dangerous.
Right. And it's different swimming in the chop of a lake than a pool.
Right, yep, and you have to be able to sight and try to see where you're going, go in a straight line, as opposed to you're guided by 2 lane lines.
And how long is the swimming competition in a triathlon?
It's a 1,500, so about a mile. A
mile, which would be how many laps in a pool?
Good question.
I'm just trying to, so how long does that leg usually take?
About 18 minutes.
Wow, okay. So then you emerge from the water, you're in your swimsuit, and you immediately run to a bicycle?
Yep.
Okay. And somewhere in there you put on bicycling shoes, so you're locked into the bike, right?
Our shoes are actually already on our bike.
So you put your feet into the shoes that are already on the bike.
Yep.
And you don't tie, you just slip them right in, right?
And then they have some Velcro.
Seamless, right, okay. What is the physical transition like from the water to the bike?
That's something I definitely had to get used to, just going from horizontal to vertical. It's completely different, and your body is kind of shaken up somewhat, so you practice it and get used to it.
And what's your breathing like coming out of the water?
I mean, I'm tired.
Yeah. And then is the breathing different on the bike as opposed to in the water? Has to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I've swam so long, I've just gotten used to holding my breath with swimming, and so I haven't really noticed that much of a difference coming from holding your breath with swimming and then being able to breathe as much as you want on the bike.
But aerobic capacity is huge for biking, right? And you're very lean. And people who are good at bike usually have some muscle mass, right? Glutes and hammies, and they look more like speed skaters sometimes, right? So what was it like the first time competing as a bike rider? Because that's the only sport you hadn't done in college, I guess.
Yeah. I'm still working on getting those muscles.
Yeah.
And working on strength training, and just more biking I do will give me those muscles. But
have you wiped out yet?
Yes.
Yeah. How was that?
Scary.
In competition?
I had my first crash in a competition this year, actually.
Okay, and just to put this in perspective, you're wearing a swimming suit. You don't have a lot of road rash protection, right?
Right, yeah. It can get pretty
bad.
How
dinged up did you get?
I was lucky. I had, few minor scrapes and bruises, blood, but nothing real bad.
How did it happen?
We're all in a bike pack. There was 2 people in front, and they kind of ran into each other, and I was behind. Half our group went down.
Right, so you went down en masse. When we come back, I want to talk about the events you won in Hungary.
Yep.
In Hungary, competing in London, and how you view your prospects of being an Olympic medalist, and how hard are you willing to work to do that? And also more about the head games of the kind of training you do, because it's quite remarkable. We're with Gwen Jorgensen. We're in Madison, and we're going to be right back. Stay with us.
This program is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you have comments about this broadcast, please email them to programming@uc.wisc.edu.
Nobody knows it like we do. Nobody celebrates it like we do. Nobody makes it happen like we do. Change. At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, it's everyone's major.
That's good. She's the pride of Waukesha South High School. She won a Big Ten Medal of Honor here in Madison as a Badger competing in track, but she was also a swim athlete. And now she is an Olympic hopeful for the United States triathlon team. Gwen Jorgensen, welcome back. So you go into this training program for triathletes after you were recruited by the U.S. Olympic Committee, and then you compete in Hungary and you win. What was that like, and did it surprise you?
Completely surprised me. I had just an incredible season, and
we've got some footage here too, by the way. We can take a look at it. Here you are, somewhere
there. It is.
You're in the red and the blue, and you're jumping into some lake in Hungary.
Yep.
And this gets bumpy, and then you transition, pick up your bicycle. This is you on the far left of the screen. Helmet comes on quickly, and boom, off you go.
Yep.
And how many athletes were in this competition?
That's a good question. Our field max out at about, they let 65 to 75, so somewhere around there.
Huge crowds.
Yes, actually this was one of the funnest races, most fun races I've been to, because the crowd was huge. Like, I guess they put on this entire week-long festival for us.
Now you felt pretty good going into the run part, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
If you're in contention going into the run, do you feel pretty good about your odds, your chances?
My run is my strength.
Okay,
so,
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and then swimming and then biking. That's if you were to rank them.
Yeah.
And there you are, sitting at the top of the podium. What a thrill.
Yeah.
Did you surprise people with this win? Did you surprise the coaches, fellow competitors, as in, who is this girl?
I think from other countries, yeah, everyone in the USA has been extremely helpful and supportive and believed in me, I'd say, more than I believed in myself this past season.
What about the training? You have a job, and now you're training for the Olympics as a triathlete, which means you're training in 3 sports, not just one sport. And all of these are endurance sports, so that means long training sessions. I guess the first question, if you were my daughter, I'd ask you, how's your body holding up?
Oh, great. But that's only because my coach has been just awesome with workouts and making sure that I'm recovering and not doing too much stuff that'll beat up my body. Because
swimming's tough on your shoulders, running's tough on your legs, knees, joints, and bicycling's tough on everything. So what do you do while you're training? This is something that's always fascinated me, is the mental part of it. How many miles do you run a week? You know, I'm not running a ton of miles right now because I'm not focusing as much on that, but biking, I'll go on 4-hour bike rides and just be out there for a while. And do you do this solo? Do you go with a pack? Solo mostly? Usually I try to go with people because that's easier, and that's kind of how our races are. We are normally in a pack. What about music? I mean, music while you're training. Do you listen to music at all? I actually don't, and I don't because I think the people I train with are just too entertaining, and I love to just talk to them and be around them. That's good to know. How many coaches do you have? Since you have 3 sports, do you have a different coach for each one of the triathletic disciplines? Kind of. I have one overall triathlon coach who kind of says, you know, you're going to bike this day, you're going to swim and run this day, and but then I have a swim coach, and I have somebody that helps me out on the bike, and I have so many resources. It's just incredible. So when you became an Olympic hopeful, a lot of resources came your way. And how have the good people at Ernst & Young, where you work after getting your CPA here at Wisconsin, they said, well, gee, we thought we were hiring an accountant, not an Olympic athlete. How have they been? They've been incredibly supportive. I'm working part-time. They let me cut back my hours and just been really flexible with when I work. And I mean, I have to travel across the globe to go to these things, so I have to take a lot of time off, and they've been really accommodating. How about your family? Have they been surprised by this venture of yours? My family's been really supportive. They go to a lot of races. They were in London and Hungary, and I've just been really lucky to have them. And were your parents athletes? You know, my dad did some running, and
played some basketball and football growing up, but never real serious.
Right. How did you end up coming to Madison? You know, did you look at other schools and then just say, I want to be a Badger?
I looked at a lot of schools, went on recruiting trips, and I fell in love the moment I came here. And I've always grown up in Wisconsin, so I've always had a Badger heart.
How would you characterize your experience in Madison?
I loved it.
Yeah. You said before we started taping, you said how great it was to be back in town. Why was it great?
I think it's just a beautiful city, and when you're here, there's people always outside and active, and you have the lakes, and I just loved everything about it.
What perspective do you have on Madison now that you're away from it, particularly when you're competing around the world in London and Hungary and other locations? That offers you some new perspective on where you came from. How does Madison hold up?
It's one of the best. I mean, I think everyone here is just really fun, and it's a great college town, and you have everyone around. And
how well did the Big Ten competition prepare you for international competition?
Really well, and I attribute that to my coaches too, just the mental games. And I mean, I had races in college that weren't the greatest, and something I learned from just from the people I was around.
Yeah. Do you ever have a chance to have fun?
Oh, I'm always having fun.
No, but I mean, you must have fun training. But I mean, do you have fun not, I mean, do you have, what do you do when you're not perspiring?
When I'm not working out and not doing tax returns?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I love cooking, reading, hanging out. I mean, just going and sitting, talking with friends, going out to eat.
We've had Susie Favor on the show, and she talked a lot about keeping weight and some of the body image, some of the issues that some of the runners on the track team that she had. She struggled a little bit with some eating disorder issues. What perspective do you have for young female athletes on that issue?
I mean, I definitely went through a point in college too when I kind of struggled with that, because a lot of sports put emphasis on being a certain weight, and I think it's horrible to have those sort of issues because everyone has a different body type, and it's just important to kind of make sure you're having, as long as you're getting enough fruits, vegetables, whole grains, protein, I think you can have whatever else you want to eat, and it's important to have that balance.
And it's more of a mental, emotional thing than it is a physical thing, and you feel you have that. Well, I mean, obviously, you have to eat a lot of food, right?
Yes,
that
I'm
must
lucky.
be nice. Like you have to eat 2 pizzas a day. Is that kind of the
4?
4?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. So when we come back, I want to see what the long-term play is for you. You just don't become an Olympic hopeful and then win a gold medal the next year. It's a long haul, and particularly for young women, you really haven't hit your more mature, productive years yet. Late 20s, early 30s is when a lot of women really are at their peak athletically. So you're looking at several more years of trying this. So I want to, when we get back, I want to see, you know, if you want to do that. So we're in Madison. This is Gwen. Please stay with us. She wants to win a gold medal.
This program is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you have comments about this broadcast, please email them to programming@uc.wisc.edu.
We're back in Madison with Gwen Jorgensen, who is a U.S. Olympic team member, a triathlete. You qualified both for the United States Olympic team and the Summer Olympics upcoming in London this past summer, correct?
Yep.
Now, going into that competition, you weren't on the U.S. Olympic team, and you had not qualified for the Olympics, and in one afternoon you did both. Is that right? And this is footage of it.
Yeah.
So, did they expect this performance from you?
I think other people believed in me that I could do it. I wasn't expecting it, and it definitely...
There you are.
Yeah, I was definitely an underdog.
And were there a lot of people saying, who is this girl?
Yeah.
Because you're young, I would argue, right?
Yeah.
For the competition. So here you are. Where were you after swimming? What place were you in?
That's a good question. I ended up there was 2 bike packs, and I was in the second bike pack, and then we ended up merging into one bike pack.
And then you came on strong in the 10K?
The running is my strength.
Right. And are you here now?
No.
Somewhere? We don't see you.
No.
But so you came on strong in the running, and you finished?
Second.
Second out of all contestants, first among all U.S. competitors. So in one afternoon in London, running by the Queen and Buckingham Palace, you went from this really nice, smart girl from Wisconsin, who all of a sudden now is on the U.S. Olympic team and has already qualified for this upcoming Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
Now, what happened after that? There must have been a lot. I mean, there must have been like this flood of coaches and attention after this fact, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was. It's just, I've been blessed in the opportunities I've been able to have.
So how did you handle the attention you got?
It was difficult, just mostly because I wasn't really expecting it. But I mean, it's such an honor to be a part of the U.S. Olympic team.
You get to go to the Olympics, which are also in London, and you'll be competing on the same course you competed in to qualify in London.
Yep.
And you get to go to the opening ceremonies and walk in with a blazer.
How cool is that?
I know, unbelievably cool.
Yeah, I still can't believe it.
And I got to say, you came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And how many U.S. Female triathletes will there be on
There
the
will
team?
be 3, and
3.
we know 2 of them so far.
Right. And how are your times compared to international standards right now? I mean, are you in the hunt?
You know, every race is so different just with the courses. If there's hills, there's not hills. And I have a lot of things I still need to work on, my biking, my swimming, so I'm just going to try to work on it to compete against these.
What was your time in London?
I don't remember. It was around 2 hours.
So it's 2 hours straight of swimming, biking, and running.
Mm-hmm.
How was the crowd in London? How was the course?
Oh, it was beautiful.
And it's going to be the same course?
Yep, same
course. So
course.
if you finish second against a very tough field, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
right? And you're running the same course for the Olympics, would you be viewed as a favorite?
I mean, now people know about me, so there's more expectations. People are going to try to not let me be in their bike pack. It's just going to be a whole different ball game.
A little more competitive?
Yeah, everyone's.
There's some tough, mean competitors at the international level. They'll knock you down. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, you know, everyone's out there. It's their job, and they're trying to do the best that they can.
So have you been squired by commercial sponsors yet or anything like that? Is that also happening?
I have an agent to kind of deal with all that. I mean, I've never really viewed this as a job just because it's so fun. So I tried to have an agent now. They can kind of deal with that, and I can just enjoy what I like to do.
How do you keep it fresh, and how do you keep it enjoyable still? Because over time, it can become a grind. I mean, you compete in 3 endurance competitions in 3 different disciplines, which means a lot of training.
Yeah, well, with training, I have awesome training partners. I love and look forward to being able to.
Who do you train with?
I swim with the Walter Schrader Aquatic Swim Team in Brown Deer, Wisconsin. I cycle with a bunch of just local bike groups. Tom Schuler has been helping me out a lot.
Men and women?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I've been running with the Marquette University track and cross country team.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good. And do you run with the women or the men or both? Or
both.
what?
I kind of switch it up depending on how I'm feeling.
And are they aware of your status these days?
Yes, I get a little made fun of sometimes.
Yes. Do you get to wear any cool Olympic gear while you're training?
I try not to.
Oh, that's good. Who are some of the athletes that you're going to be competing against in the Summer Games that you know of who are really good, and where are they from?
Well, Sarah Groff for the U.S. I mean, our USA team is just going to be incredible, really strong. Helen Jenkins, who actually beat me in London, she'll be there.
And where's she from?
She's from Great Britain.
Okay.
And then Canadian Paula Finley. Not everyone has been decided yet from the different countries because everyone has a different qualifying criteria. But.
So do you get to work out in some of the Olympic labs with a bunch of sensors all over your body and an oxygen mask?
I can do that if I want to, yes.
And you do or you don't?
I've done it once. I really just love the support staff that I have in Milwaukee, and I really like training there.
So you walk in the opening ceremonies, and how soon after the opening ceremonies does the triathlon begin?
I think it's about a week later. The triathlon is on August 4th.
Okay. So. What will be in your head when you step to the starting line before you jump in the water, actually, to compete for the United States?
It's just an incredible honor, and I'm looking forward to being able to do something that brings the entire country and world together. It's incredible. Well,
I have to say, as an alum, really proud of you. And this is really a little bit of a Cinderella story, because you came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that's a tribute to you. I really wish you nothing but the best.
Thank
and
you.
Are you going to do any Wisconsin high signs or anything during the competition, or have a little flying W logo or a Bucky anywhere?
Should have a badger on my bike or something, but that'd probably be illegal.
I'm sure it would be. Yeah, you've got a whole new set of regulations.
Yeah.
Well, just congratulations and best of luck. Okay, and we'll all be rooting for you. Okay.
Thanks.
Gwen Jorgensen, U.S. Olympic team. Look for her this summer. In the Summer Games in London and on Wisconsin, Gwen.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Join us again in Madison. See ya.
The preceding program was produced by the University of Wisconsin in association with the Big Ten Network.